guys, it's Kristi. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm excited because I am participating in the Slow Cooker Challenge that's being hosted by Kenya from Kenya's Decor Corner and Mrs. V from the channel Mrs. V. So I'm really excited to be participating in this today. So the rules for this challenge were pretty simple. All they asked us to do was to make either a meal or an appetizer or side dish, something like that, in either a slow cooker or a pressure cooker. And then the other thing they asked us to do was make sure that we include the recipe in the description box. So when you're done watching this video, if you want to see the recipe, I'll have it all in writing in the description box below. So make sure you check that out. If you haven't already been over to Mrs. V's channel and Kenya's Decor Corner, make sure you go check out their channels. And I'm also gonna put links for their channels and the playlist in the description box below. So when you're done watching the video, check all of those out. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you hit that subscribe button and join our Inspired Living community. And also, if you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. For this challenge, I decided to make risotto in my Instant Pot. So we never had an Instant Pot until about, I guess it was in October. We went on vacation. We decided while we were on our vacation in Scottsdale that we would go to a cooking class. So we did, and one of the things they were making was risotto. It turns out we've been making risotto for years on the stove, and we love it. It's one of Whitney's favorite side dishes, and we had no idea that you could actually make this in a pressure cooker. So we were so excited when we learned how to make this at the class and saw that it tastes really good. So we just love it, and I love that it saves us time and effort of not having to stand at the stove and just stir it. So if you've got a lot of things going on, this is a much easier way to cook it because you're not tied to the stove for 30 minutes or so stirring the risotto constantly. So if you like risotto, stay tuned because I really think you're gonna like this recipe. We're gonna be eating our risotto with baked chicken tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the chicken started first, and while that's in the oven cooking, I will make the risotto. For the ingredients, you're gonna need some type of chicken stock or bone broth. I like the Kettle and Fire brand of bone broth. You can either get this online or you can get it in your local grocery store. I'm able to find mine in the grocery store. You're also gonna need Arborio Rice, which is the type of rice that you need to use for risotto. We like to make mushroom risotto, and that's what this one is, so we're gonna use mushrooms, but if you don't like mushrooms and you wanna leave them out, that would be perfectly fine. You're also gonna need some type of butter. I love the Gold brand of butter, but you can use whatever type you like. We're gonna use chives at the very end, so I have some fresh chives. Then you're also gonna need garlic and shallots. You're also gonna need Parmesan cheese. Then you will also need some type of cooking oil. I like to use avocado oil. And then salt, pepper, and we also like to use crushed red pepper in ours, but if you don't want it to be spicy, you could always leave that one out. The first step for the risotto is to chop your shallot, and you're going to want to chop this pretty finely. After you chop your shallot, just set it aside for later. And then we're gonna go ahead and chop the garlic. I like to use a garlic press for this so that it gets minced pretty finely. And the next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and chop up my mushrooms. You just want a rough chop on this. I like mine actually diced up a little bit more, so you can dice it up as much or as little as you want to. And then we need to go to our pressure cooker and get it set. To start out, we're gonna set the pressure cooker on saute because we wanna be able to saute all the vegetables and the mushrooms that we just chopped. So once you have everything chopped and your pressure cooker is ready to go set on saute, you're just going to take a pat of butter and about a tablespoon or two of cooking oil and put that into your Instant Pot. And then once you have that heated up and melting, you can go ahead and add your shallots in. And then you want to let your shallot saute for a little bit, and once they cook down, then you can go ahead and add in your mushrooms and let those saute for a while. Once I put the mushrooms in, I like to to go ahead and season it, but at first all I put is the black pepper and the red pepper flakes. You want to wait on your salt for mushrooms because otherwise it'll draw all the water out of the mushrooms, and you want to let them cook down first and then add the salt. While the mushrooms are sauteing, I'm going to go ahead and start measuring out my rice. I ended up using just under 2 cups of rice. I used approximately 1 3/4 cups of rice. And then once your mushrooms are cooked down and things are getting ready, you can go ahead and add your garlic in. And the reason we're adding the garlic in last is because we don't want it to overcook and get burned. You want it to just cook up a little bit. So we're going to add that and let it saute for just a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and add our rice. And you want to add your rice while the pot's still on saute because you want to actually brown up your rice just a little bit. While the rice is toasting up in the Instant Pot, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my chicken broth. For this, I'm going to use my whole carton of chicken stock, and then I'm going to add enough water to make it have a total of 4 cups. So I ended up having to fill my measuring cup up twice. The second time I just had a little bit of stock left, and then I had to add the rest of it with water to make my second 2 cups. For the water, you want a total of 4 cups. Once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and set my Instant Pot to pressure cook, and I'm going to set it for a total of 7 minutes. Once that's set, I can go ahead and put the lid on and just let it cook. So it'll take a few minutes for it to come up to pressure, and then you'll hear a beep once it comes up to pressure, and that lets you know that your 7 minutes has started on the clock. While that is coming up to pressure, I'm going to go ahead now and grate my cheese. I just have a block of Parmesan Reggiano cheese, and I'm grating that because that'll get added into the risotto at the very end once it's already cooked. Everything will be heated up, and it'll just melt that cheese, and it makes it really creamy. And of course, you know I'm never in the kitchen without AC being in there. He always has to come see in case I drop something. He's got to be there to pick it up. And sure enough, there were a few pieces of cheese that fell on the floor for him to get. So he was definitely a happy camper for that one. He's always my little helper. So once your 7 minutes is up and everything is cooked, it's time to release the pressure on the pressure cooker. And when you do this, you want to be very careful because you don't want the steam to burn you. I like to use a towel over it to protect my hand and also to help direct the steam in the direction that I want it to go. We usually like to keep it next to our stove so we can turn on the vent, and it pulls all the steam and the smells up into the vent. The last thing that we're going to do now is add another little pat of butter and our cheese to the finished risotto and just stir that really well. The addition of this butter and cheese is going to make it really creamy. And as a final touch, I'm just chopping up my chives for my garnish. Another good thing about the Instant Pot is it will stay on warm, so if your chicken wasn't quite ready yet or whatever else you're cooking to go with your risotto, you can keep it on warm and it will keep it as if you had just made it. So don't worry about that at all. We've done it both ways, eating it either right away or let it sit for a little while, and it's fine. My chicken was ready, so I went ahead and started plating everything up. I garnished it with my chives. Then you can see what the finished product is with the chicken, and so we ended up eating the chicken and risotto and a little bit of salad with it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like it, remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel. And then also make sure you head on over and check out the playlist so you can see all the other recipes and Mrs. V and Kenya's channels. Thanks guys, bye.